Again for another Gigsy Creator Central. I'm your host Arvind, and along with me is Vikram Parthan, CEO of Gigsy India. This Gigsy Creator Central is something that we have very recently started to do because we realized that although we are getting a lot of creators on board, we wanted to build this very supportive ecosystem around the creator's journey itself, right? I mean, creators are coming on board, but we want to do everything that we can to go ahead and help them actually succeed. So as a part of that, we've been talking about a number of different things, including monetization, including different ways to create content. We've been sharing ideas, tips, techniques, things that we have actually used, both as a part of Gixie and in our own professional careers as well. And today, we are going to be talking about design. Now, the reason why we chose this topic was twofold. One was that when we went online, we did research the same way that we recommended that everybody else do research as well. We realized that a lot of people had the same question. That they have this mental block saying that, you know what, I'm really good at what I do, but there's a big challenge when it comes to being, creative or creating things that actually look good. I'm not a designer. I don't know how to use Illustrator or Photoshop or insert your favorite graphic tool of your choice. And that's almost like an identity that's just keeping on getting hammered in time and time and time again until it becomes what I would call a limiting belief, right? Something that's going to be holding you back from achieving whatever you want to do. Now, when we are starting out as creators, it may be so that we do not have access to big budgets, or we might not be interested or willing to outsource the design components of whatever we want to do. But when you go online, when you look at, let's say, websites like Facebook or Twitter or Gixie or LinkedIn, wherever you are sharing the content that you're creating as a part of the, your outreach efforts, as a part of your marketing efforts, you'll realize that you do want to create something that's going to stand out because, well, at least like 5 or 6 years ago, it was like, if you just had like moderately good looking visuals, that would have been okay because most people didn't have anything. But nowadays, when when the power to create good looking graphics has become almost ubiquitous, as in everybody has access to it and there is no problem with it and everybody can do it. Suddenly, if you don't have images that, that are par for the course, it's like almost as if you don't have a proper sense of hygiene, if you know what I mean. So that's why Vikram and I, we decided that, hey, you know what, we're going to teach people how to use Canva, a tool that we use internally at Gixie as well as Vikram uses it for his own coaching thing. I use it for my own career coaching thing. And together we put all of these things together. And today we're going to be showing how to use this. I suspect quite strongly that this particular video would be and this particular session rather, would be a rather shorter one because I'm going to be showing you how to use the tool. And I'm going to be directing you to a number of useful resources that can help you, make most of what we're going to be learning as well. At any given point of time, I'm going to request you to go ahead and use the chat box and send us your questions. I do have them open in front of me as well. I'm just typing out hi over there so that, I can answer those questions at any given point of time. And later, once I've finished with the demo and talking about this, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions on air itself. All right. With that, let us begin. I will now share my screen. Okay. There we go. All right. I have temporarily opened up a, what do you call this? It's essentially a private window so that I can show you how it looks to, go ahead and register on Canva. What you can see is once you go on to canva.com, this is what you're greeted with. Of course, this is going to be changing every now and then, but the point is this. Whenever you do come in and you log into canva.com, if you've never been there before, you could create an account using your Google ID or your Facebook ID, or you have an option to sign up with your email as well. If you do have an account and you do end up at canva.com, you could go down and click on login over here, or you could use the buttons on the top right. I am going to close this window for the moment because I have already logged in and I am going to be sharing my screen again so that you can see how it looks once I have logged in. Great. So everybody can see the screen. If you can, just type out yes in the chat box. This is also my super duper secret technique to make sure that people are actually listening to me when I am talking in this session. that would really help. And once I have people listening in, I can go ahead. Great. I get a thumbs up from Pratibha. Thank you. Mr. Ranga as well. What about Miss Navya and Miss Prithvi? Thank you, Maitri. I hope I got your name right. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just going to like highlight what are the different things that are there on screen right now, and let's get the easy ones out of the way first, right? On the top, you will see a very unique, not a very unique thing, a very, very useful menu where anytime you're lost, you can just click on this logo or you can click on home to end up back on this screen, right? It really helps that way. Then depending upon the type of artwork or the type of image that you wish to create or the type of video that you wish to create, you can actually just go on this menu and you can choose any one of the existing templates that you see over here, right? This is quite useful. You can definitely go ahead and when you click on this, you'll be taken to a certain screen where you can go ahead and create that image. But to make things much, much easier for us, what we do have is this design anything, right? So you have this big box. And now let's say that I want to go ahead and make a Instagram post. So I'm just typing out Instagram. And this search box essentially shows me a number of different kind of image templates that I can use to create something. What's interesting over here is, I mean, of course, one is, you know, you have the icons that you can look at, right? But, and of course, you can choose whether you want to create a post or a story, which is what you can use on Instagram. But beyond that, what Canva does is it also makes recommendations. Obviously, it's a um, non-Indian. I'm sorry, I think they're American or Canadian. I'm not too sure. Well, basically, they're from the Western world, you know, compared to India, and therefore the templates that you'll see and the ideas that you have are obviously based on such a thing. But there is nothing stopping us from going ahead and using anything, right? So I can type out Instagram, or let's say that I'm going to take Pratibha's example, right? She's planning a launch, so I'm just going to be typing out launch and seeing what happens. Well, unfortunately, launch is not something that's going to be coming up because obviously that's not something that's been tagged in. But what if I wanted to choose poster, right? Suddenly when I'm looking at poster, there are many, many different things that are popping up again as well. All right. So you can always use this box right there in the middle. That's, oops, sorry, that's right there that you can use to go ahead and identify different kinds of things you want to create, right? Scrolling down, you do have some other things as well. And I want to show a couple of things, right? First is, can you guys see this box? This blue box on the screen? I'm not sure if you can. Anyway, this box that I'm talking about, right, where it says create a design, well, there are many things that are popping up over there. Again, it's very similar to the templates menu that we explored, as well as the search box that we had at the top. So we can click through different kinds of things that we want to create, right? So let's say if it was just Instagram, we could do this. Or, and this is something that I like to do personally, is I just go ahead and click, you know, to get some sort of an inspiration. And of course, I have an option where I click on see all, and it gives me all the possible different options that we can create. Here's the cool thing. In one page, it could get a little bit overwhelming, but you could obviously, you know, just see all the different things that are there. Click on this arrow on the side to go ahead and see what are the different options. I believe one of the most valuable things that you can do with Canva is actually look at the, you know, look at the words that are written here. What is this image for? When you look at that, you also realize that, hey, okay, if I was going to be going for a YouTube thumbnail, I just click on that and I'll go ahead and change it. But here's the beautiful thing. Just below that, do you see this number 1280 into 720px? Those are dimensions. Okay, what that means is this is how wide this picture is going to be, and this is how tall the picture is going to be in terms of pixels. Later on, right, when it comes to, let's say, creating an image for your website, let's say, or if you choose to create a visiting card, right, whatever it is, in case your designer or your developer or somebody else is asking, I need an image of this specific dimension, it's very easy, and Canva is going to help you do that just very easily. You click on this, right, and then you can enter the width and the height, and you can choose whether you want it in inches or millimeters or centimeters, whatever it is, and you can create that image in that dimension. All right. So what's been happening? Well, we've been looking at all the possible designs, and anytime I'm stuck, I'm just going to click on that blue circle, the top left logo. I'm going to end up over here. I can look at all of these things, right? And later, right, as you keep on using Canva, you can see that there are a number of different things that you can create. And as you build up your library, what you will see is that all the stuff that you've made in the past is available under your designs. On the left-hand side menu, you can see that as well. For me, these are the different, what do I say, the different kinds of images that I have created as a part of different projects that I've done. I'm going to say like this, as you can see, was for a quiz. This was for some advertisements. I made this for some wishing somebody a happy birthday. So I've been using this quite some time. So therefore, what's been happening is that I have been using this to create a number of different things over time as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the home menu, right? The home page on this. And I am just going to very quickly check for any chats because that window seems to be closed. Ah, no, there we have. Cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys, what kind of an image do you want to create? We're going to create something right now. Just go ahead and type out what is one or two different images that you want to create. We could use Canva for videos as well, right? So as you can see, video is an option. And while I'm talking, I'm hoping that you're going to be writing, okay, Prithvi says for music, great. So we can do that. So video is an option as well. So let's go back to social media, okay? And I'm going to be looking at creating a, let's look at YouTube thumbnail, okay? And Prithvi, I'm going to request you to type out the name of your brand. I know it's pre-musicy, but I don't know how to spell it. I'm terribly sorry. Great. I'm just going to copy that as well. Okay, great. So all I've done so far was I clicked on, just to reiterate, I'm going back home. Right. And I came over here and then I chose YouTube thumbnail. I clicked on that. That opened up a new tab, as you can see, right? And I'm just closing the old one. And then this thing pops up. Now, this is this is where you're going to be. This is where all the magic happens, right? This is where we can do a ton of things. And I'm going to be going over this particular screen in painstaking detail so that you can benefit. Now look at this. On the left, right, what you have are a number of different templates that you can use. These are pre-built by designers who, well, I can very comfortably say this, who are far more skilled in design than I am. So I can just very easily leverage their knowledge and their expertise. I can apply it and I can go ahead and start using it, right? Now, when you go through this, right, when you can see, for example, if I am looking at this one, right, it says Safari on it, there are some 3 dots, and then on the bottom right of this icon, you can see the word free. What that means is it's free for me to use for just about any purpose. I do recommend that you read the terms and conditions, but it's as simple as that. And when I click on that menu, right, it gives me more details. Those 3 dots on top of it, when I'm hovering, it tells me what are the different things that I can look for. If I don't like it, that's cool. I could go ahead and look for other things as well. Now you see when I'm clicking on this, right? Summer Jams, this one that's there, it does not particularly have the free thing. As you can you guys see this? How with Sunsets With You, there is free popping up in the bottom right corner of the, I'm talking like right over here, of the icon, but for this one, it's not popping up. That's because this is not a free one. For me to, and that's why when I'm clicking, when I'm seeing this, right, when I clicked on this, everything just popped up on this brig canvas over here. But you see this background, it has a watermark. It's got like this weird grid thing that's coming up. And when I'm hovering on the bottom right, I see this option to remove watermarks. The way it works is like this, right? Some elements of this particular template, and templates are the things that you're seeing in this column over there, all right, on the left-hand side. Some templates have premium elements, right? For example, this photograph is a premium element. So if I click on remove watermarks, I have an option to purchase it, right? And in this case, it's $1 for a premium image. So that's an option, but we don't have to, I don't feel like spending money. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be selecting Control A, and I'm going to be essentially deleting all of this, right? So now I'm back to where I was in the very beginning. Let's start with a free one itself. Okay, I'm going to be looking at. Okay, I'm going to take this one. Okay, this sounds pretty cool. This looks pretty nice. Along the lines, I have copy pasted. This is what pre-music key sounds like. And this is what's looking like, right? So all I've done was when I'm hovering on top of the different elements that are there, for example, this, I could probably go ahead and rotate it using any of these things. And looking at this, right? I can change the color if I wanted. I could take this. I'm not saying that this is like the best color scheme, but you know, this is an option as well. Or I could just leave it the way it was. And let's say the image, right? If I wanted to change that image, maybe there is something else I can do. How I'm going to be doing that, again, the secret lies in this menu, right? Before we go into the menu, everybody with me so far? Everybody's understood what we've done, right? If so, just give me a yes or a thumbs up. All right, Pratibha's given a yes. Navya's given a yes. Prithvi, you with us? Okay, thank you. All right. So all I've done is opened up a new thing. I've seen this templates menu. I found something that's free and I'm putting it up over there. Then I selected the text item and then I changed it. I could even put up Gigsy over there, but since I promised, I just typed out pre-music key in this. And now we're going to be looking at changing the photo. For changing the photo, we have two options. The easier one is to just go ahead and click on the photos icon on this left menu bar. And I'm going to be just typing out music. All right. Now, when I'm looking at music, there are a number of different photos that are coming up, right? Along with different options for me to search for. Now, if I'm going to be looking at this, again, if you see some of these photos, they have the word free written down in the bottom right corner. However, if you see this particular photo has the word pro written on it. That means, again, I'll have to pay $1 just to use this image, or I have to subscribe to Canva Pro that you can see over here that pops up. Personally, I have not used Canva Pro till date because I found the basic version to be good enough by itself. All right, I am going to choose something. Okay, this is, unfortunately, it's something that looks really nice, but it's again a pro image. Okay, I am going to take that one. Okay, so when I just clicked on that, it's ending up at that particular place, right? It's just being directly added into this canvas. Here is another way I could do that. I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag. And what you'll see is that at a certain point, right, when you're close to the edge, it's going to be applying it directly as a background image. So the older one that was there, right, that's essentially being replaced. But what you can see is that it's also been a little bit, how do I say this? It's been stretched so that, it doesn't fit. You could obviously change the, I'm going to come back to it, but you can change the different aspects of the image, right? So I can change the brightness, I can make it really bright, although that looks absolutely ghastly. I could probably change and apply like a mild tint so that the white really stands out because of the contrast. Maybe I want to blur this. Oops. I could do that. I could play around with these settings and then see what I want. But if I don't like anything, I click on reset and I'm back. But here's the thing. I don't. Okay, great. So Prithvi actually says you can choose any instrument related to music, right? I'm looking at this and I'm not interested in this thing. So I'm going to be searching for musical instruments. When I'm looking at this, right, there are some options that are free. Again, I could just click on it and it's going to end up over here. Or I could, I could put that out over there. But here's the thing. I'm not happy with any of the images. Let's say, okay, hypothetically, I'm not happy with any of the images that are popping up. I want to find some different images. So I'm just going to delete that. Whoops. I did Control Z to get that back, or a Command Z on a Mac. Now, here are some options, right? If I don't like this, I'm going to go to this website called unsplash.com. Okay. I will just type that out in the chat box as well. Unsplash.com is essentially a website. Uh, thank you, Vikram. Is a website where we can find images that are free to use for any purpose, right? Including commercial ones. The reason why I recommend unsplash.com over, let's say, just doing a Google search is because of copyright issues, right? Photographs are, again, works of somebody else, right? Somebody else has made them, so they own the copyright over that. And if you're just going to be taking something off, let's say Pinterest or off Google Images, that's not going to be a particularly useful one, right? Because you could end up in some sort of copyright issues or something. Unsplash.com, right? As you can see, it's essentially freely usable images. That means you can use it for commercial or non-commercial purposes. You don't need to ask anybody for permission, right? So what you, that's why I'm saying like, okay, you know what? Let's just go to unsplash.com. Let's get some musical instruments, all right? I just go in there, type out musical instruments. Look at this. We get a number of different things, and any of these can be used directly as is, okay? So I am gonna pick eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's search for, I don't know, I'm just gonna be searching for vocals, right? Because this thing. Free pick can be used as well. They don't have copyright, Navya. That's absolutely right. However, if you are downloading free images, you still have to give credit to the author. And what that means is on your image itself, you'll have to give something like picture credit, like so and so. Whereas with Unsplash, you probably don't need to do that. You definitely don't need to do that. Okay, I am going to be taking this one. Okay. I'm just clicking on this, so it pops up, right? I like this, and I'm going to be clicking on download for free. If I do choose to give credit, what pops up is I can just copy this and I can give it credit wherever I'm using, right? So I'm going to take this thing and showing somebody a downloads folder is very similar to showing off your closet. You know, it's not a good place. All right. So what I've done is I've downloaded that picture. It is there on my desktop. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm back on Canva. I'm back to our canvas. I'm going to go on to the uploads, this thing. And you can see that there are a number of different things, pictures of mine that I have uploaded before. I'm going to go ahead and click on this big button on top, upload an image or video. I'm going to go back to the desktop where I have the picture and I have that image, right? So I'm going to select that and I'm going to click on open. What that'll do is it will start uploading it over here. Okay. And once this status bar, this upload bar disappears, I know that it's essentially ready for me to use, right? So what I can do, same thing as before, I could just go ahead and I could just click it and see it's going to pop up, or I just go ahead and I'm going to drop it. Okay, so there we go. That's how we can actually add our image. But that's not all. We spoke about templates, which is where we chose this beauty template to begin with, right? There are others in the same category as well. When you're looking at this whole bunch of things, you could look at, I believe there is a music template as well, or YouTube thumbnail. All of these, right? So there are many, many of these things that do pop up. So we've done that. We've looked at uploading, where we have downloaded a picture from unsplash.com and uploaded it and then dragged it onto our canvas. We've done that as well. And then we looked at photos where we could search for instruments and microphones or whatever we want within Canva itself. And now we're going to look at a couple of different things. Okay. So next, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about elements. Elements are, again, like design things that you can add. It could be like different grids that you want to use, different shapes. If you want to hide stuff behind something, you can do all of these things, right? So go ahead and click through all of these things. I'm going to be looking, let's say that I want to give a heart. Okay. I'm just searching for a heart just because, you know, I just wanted to add that. I'm like, okay, so this looks nice. Again, I could just click on it and it's going to pop up over here, right? Or drag and drop. Now, but you see this, right? It's not very, very visible. So what do I want to do? I want to click on this icon that's going to help me change the color. I'm going to change it back to white. Yeah, great. So that's what I'm doing. I have now inserted that image over here. And then I noticed that I'm going to be moving that one over there. Again, I'm not sure if this is even on brand for pre-music. I'm terribly sorry if it's not. But this is just a very, very easy way for me to, add some more elements. I can move things around to say, hey, you know what? This actually makes sense for me. I'm just going to be leaving that over there. There's some empty space. So this is essentially what you do, right? So you play around with these different things. You can obviously find a lot of these elements on Canva itself. And when you go back, you'll actually see that there are, again, elements also. Some of these can be pro, like the one that you see over here, or they could be free, like the one that's over here as well. And at any given point of time, let's say, for example, shapes, if you want to add some shapes, click on them. Let's say that you want to add this star. I'm not saying you should, but you know what? Drag and drop, and you can play around with it. I'm going to delete that because I don't want that as a part of my design. Great, so we finished templates, we finished uploads, we finished photos, and we finished elements. The next bit is about text. Here's a really cool thing, right? So we took a template and we're going ahead and we're looking at this. So if we wanted to add more stuff, like, I'm just going to click on this text and this heading thing pops up, and I can go ahead and I could add whatever text I want, right? Do you have a slogan, Prithvi, or something? Music for your ears. Okay. I have no clue if this is the right thing, but I'm just making something up for the benefit of demonstrations. Okay. Now I want to change the font for this, right? So what's happening is I've just clicked on that, make sure that that is selected, and I can see the different options that I have, right? So this is pretty straightforward. I am going to be searching for a particular font. I'm going to choose, I think it's called Celiba, right? So that seems to be the font because that's already there. It pops up. I could then I could like rotate this a little bit, right? And yeah, I that's about it. I'm going to be putting that up. I can change the color as well. Maybe if I want like a slightly different color. Whoops, that looks garish. Okay. So yeah, there we have it, right? So all I've done so far is I have chosen a particular font. I have changed the font. I've changed the color. I could obviously change the size of the font as well. If it makes sense, maybe I want to make it slightly smaller and then move it off a little bit to the side, right? It's very, very easy to do stuff like this. Apart from this, now let's say that I didn't want this, right? And let's say I didn't want that either. I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to hit the delete button, and I'm going to be removing that as well, right? Oh, you know what? I'm just undoing it, right? So I can click here to do undo as well. I changed my mind because I want to first export this. So great. I'm going to be showing you another way of building something up from scratch. And that's where all of this stuff will come in. These are essentially pre-designed templates for blocks of text, right? The chunks of text that you can just drag and drop and you can customize as well. So that's something you can do. I'm going to skip over background for now because that's going to be in the second demo, so that we can go through that. All right. What's there in the more menu? It's essentially like other stuff that I can do, right? Okay, so now let's say that I am happy with my design, right? I probably want to change the color of that to match that. And then once I'm done with it, I want to export this, right? I want to download it as an image so that I can use it elsewhere. How am I doing that? I go here to the top right? There are multiple options, and I'm just going to very quickly walk through this. This is essentially the file name, right? If I wanted to say that, I could change this to anything that I want, right? This is the option to try a premium version of Canva. This is when you wish to share this with somebody else, anybody that you want to invite to, you can just copy that link and they can also open it. They can give you feedback. They can help you edit the whole thing as well. This is particularly useful if you're not an individual, but you're working with a team and you want to give them access to this as well. But all of the stuff that we want comes in this menu, right? I'm essentially clicking on this. What's happened? I click on download and it gives me this option. I have a whole bunch of like different types of images that I can create. And whenever possible, I'm going to recommend for the, if you don't know what these things are, go for PNG because that is the highest quality of image. But in case if you have, let's say, download restrictions or something like that, which is unlikely in this day and age, you could just go ahead and choose JPEG or something. Depending upon what you created and how you want to use it, I'm going to say pick and choose. Most of the time, you will be using PNG. And sometimes when you want to, like, for example, if you're making a CV or if you're making like a poster, all right, something that's going to be printed, you might want to go ahead with a PDF. But for now, you're going to go with PNG. We don't have to worry about any of this because it's all the dimensions, everything's already been set. I clicked on download and great, that's it. Now it's downloaded and it's popped up in my, this thing. Can you guys see my entire screen or is it just a second?
You can just see the canvas screen. Right?
Okay, hold on. Now can you see the entire screen?
I'm able to see home, Canva.
Awesome.
Yeah, pre-music key and black and gray microphone, 3 tabs.
Great. So now you guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
So I've come in over here. I'm going to move this again to the desktop. And when I'm opening this up, right, this is the image that I have ready for use. Now it is the exact dimensions that I need for creating it as a, for use as a YouTube thumbnail. Remember, when we started this off, we were trying to make a YouTube thumbnail itself, and that's what we have, right? So that's one thing that we can do. Now, let's say that this is just one of the images that you want to create. Now, what if you wanted to create another YouTube thumbnail? There are 2 options for you to do that. One is obviously to go back to the home screen and click on, whoops, where did that go? YouTube thumbnail again, and it's going to open up something. But what if it was like a batch of images that are going to be working together? There, what you can do is you can add a new page. Now click on this. What's happening is it's essentially just duplicated what was there before. I'm going to remove this. Sorry, I've selected this background image. I'm hitting delete, and that's gone as well. So I could make some changes. I can build something off from scratch from here, or I could go ahead and create a new one. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to try this for someone else. Anybody else? What do you guys do? I want to create something. We will probably make something else. Maybe not a YouTube template. We'll make something else. Okay, Prithvi is talking about yoga. All right, I'm going to try Instagram post for yoga. Okay, now let's see how that's going to pop up. What I did was I went to Canva, the homepage. I selected this, and this thing popped up. But this time, what we're going to do is we're not going to be using any of the templates. You know that these are templates because you can see this on the top left. Templates is the one that's already been selected. Instead, I'm going to start off with text. Let's say that I want to say yoga equals, I have no idea what yoga equals. Help me out. Tell me something that I can put over here. You know what? I'm just going to say yoga workshop. So all I did was I clicked on this and this thing has popped up. As you can see, it's quite small. And if I wanted to make this bigger, what I can do is one, I could just drag this in, right? I could drag this and then it becomes bigger and bigger and it makes sense, right? But here's the thing. I'm just going to click on undo. You see this over here? What you see over here is that this is only at 31% zoom, right? And if I'm going to be moving it to 100%, what you see is that, whoops, it's, yeah, this is the actual size of the whole thing, right? Now, let's say that we're trying to make a poster for yoga, right? I'm going to say Gigsy presents for inspired creators only. Yoga for good health. Okay. Again, this is just an example. I'm terribly sorry. I'm probably massacring yoga and whatever yoga stands for. But I'm going to say, I'm not going to say for this thing, I'm going to say yoga. That's too long. Okay, yeah, but that's a good learning experience. Yoga masterclass. But then you see how this is too big. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to change the font size to make it, well, that's about 105, right? So does 96 fit? Nope. What about an 80? Yep, that also fits. Now this looks a little bit off. So I'm going to change this to 80 as well. So yoga masterclass for boost creativity and lose weight. Okay, I'm just saying that this is what is there. I can change these details. I'm going to leave that as it is. Then now I'm going to zoom back out and let's see how that looks. Okay, that seems to be a little bit small. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this so that it looks a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to leave that over there. So that was just one element, right? So likewise, if you can see, there are a number of different ways for me to add text. This seems to be like a menu option. This is the one that we actually have chosen on screen is for like a invite sort of a thing. There are other things like a menu card again that's popping up, headings, wishing people happy birthday. All of these things are possible. But now let's add some elements, right? I'm going to again go ahead and search for yoga and see what happens. Okay, I like this one. It seems to be quite nice, but it still looks very Spartan because the background is still white and this is still black. So I'm going to go ahead and very quickly change the background color. I have a number of different options, or I could use these different templates. I am, for the sake of convenience, I'm going to choose that. Okay, so that's there. Now let's say that I wanted to add for RSVP. So I'm going to go back to text. Instead of choosing the thing here, I'm going to scroll up to the top and add a subheading. Whoops, that seems to be too big. So I click on undo. I'm going to add a little bit of body text and I'm going to say RSVP, Vikram, sexy hair, Parthan. For those of you who are just tuning in or watching this video at any time in the future, Vikram has unfortunately won the coveted title of having the best head of hair in our entire company. So that's there. I'm going to set this.
I have no idea how that's even possible given your main, but yeah, okay.
It's all right. You don't have to be modest. I'm going to change this slightly. Whoops, that's too small. Okay. And that, yeah, so great. So we're done with this. And then once again, if I wanted to make this in, let's say in different colors, I could just click on copy page. This is different from adding a new page, right? I want you guys to understand that because you see this? Copy page essentially just duplicates the same page. But what I can do is like, hey, you know what? I want to change the background. I'm going to be using this one instead. There we go. And yeah, maybe a third option. That's great. But here's the thing. Okay, so when we have 3 such images and we go on download, it's going to download as a zip file. So you can choose that. Either do you want only page 1, 2, or 3? You know, let's say I just want page 2 and 3. I would just tick these 2 boxes. But if I want all 3, you know, I select all 3 and I click on download. It's going to again prepare. And once it downloads, right, download. Which one was this? Gigsy Presents, right? So I'm going to take this to the desktop. double click, open that. And then these are the 3 images that we've created. So this is one, this is the second, and this is the third. Now, before I terminate this session, I just wanted to help you understand that you don't have to just rely on the templates here as well. One of the nicest things about Canva is, remember, I've gone to canva.com and clicked on the learn side of things, right? They have a bunch of different things that teach you how to create different kinds of pretty looking images and useful stuff. I highly recommend that you go through some of these tutorials so that you can up your design game with Canva as well. They also seem to have some sort of workshops that you can look at. Again, more and more useful things that you can learn. At any given point of time, I'm going to highly recommend that if you're going to be starting to create images for your own work and to promote your passion-based business, please do use Canva, and that's going to be helping you out a lot. With that, I have concluded my demonstration. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. You've been a tremendously quiet audience. So please go ahead and ask me your questions and I'll try to answer them as quickly and easily as I can. Right. Prithvi is asking how to select the posters. I'm going to share my screen once again. Desktop one. I have a 2-screen thing, so that's why. So when you're choosing to go for posters, right, you can see this. I'm back on the home screen. I'm clicking on posters. And what's happening is a poster is, of course, going to be of a different dimension, right? Most probably you're going to be like printing it out or something. So you can actually choose any of these. Here's a cool one. Oh, look, coronavirus. So they've actually created something in particular thing for that. So if it is a matter of the mechanics, Prithvi, as to how would you actually just go ahead and choose what is the image that you want to, like, you know, what is the template or something, you know, it's just a matter of like, okay, you know what, click this, add it to the screen, change some colors on the fonts if you want, and then go ahead and, you know, just change the content. But I'm assuming your question is more about how do I know which is the kind of poster that's going to work the best for me? Well, the short answer is I don't have a ready-made process that you can look at, but the longer answer is this is what I have done to develop that sort of a aesthetic sense in trying to figure out what is the kind of posters that I'm going to be using. What I do is I look at other people in this space, right? This is again a part of the Passion to Profit Bootcamp. When you're doing the research, right, you're going to be looking at what are the kind of posters that others are creating. You want to look at what are the kind of art pieces that are looking, you know, you can look at stuff like Behance or Pinterest for inspiration. And what happens is you will notice that you can make 2 kinds of posters. One, that fit in exactly with what everybody is doing, right, in the same space, or something that's going to be very, very different from what you're doing, from what everybody else is doing. So 1 is a poster that looks like what everybody else is doing, and 2 is a poster that looks like nothing like what anybody else is doing. You don't want to be in either one of these extremes, right? You want to be somewhere in the middle, because what you want to do is you want to create content, you want to create the sort of art, all of that is very similar to what people are already exposed to, so that they have that sense of familiarity, but still it's different enough that you know, it still stands out. Because if you are in this position where your poster looks pretty much the same as everybody else, well, you're going to be lost in the noise. And if it's going to be all the way here where it's very, very different than what anybody else has ever seen, they'll be like, I have no clue what this is. So you want to be in this sweet spot where it's going to be easy for somebody who's exposed to all of this to kind of just come here, but it's not as threatening or as imposing as a poster over here. I hope that helped. Please, more questions.
Arvind, how
yes,
cross-compatible it is across different softwares which are similar, like say PageMaker. I have already made something in PageMaker. Then can I continue with this tool?
Mr. Ranga, honestly, I have not used PageMaker, but for what I understand, if Canva does not support any imports as so far as what I mean, right? Like for example, if I made something in Photoshop and I want to pull it in to this and then continue work on this, I don't think that is possible. So you will probably need to create your design from scratch.
Yeah, similarly, I can't take what I made here to some other tool also, right? That means this is proprietary format.
It's an online format. You can export it, right? What you could do is, whoops, I'm going to click on download. You could choose to export it as a PNG, but then you'd have to import that PNG over there. But if you're asking for control over each individual element, the way you have control on an individual element here, that is not going to happen. It will still be like a flattened image that you could move around with.
All right, okay.
That would help. Okay, Prithvi's got another saying that my canvas design or the poster or the cover image format isn't suitable for my video. Prithvi, I do not unfortunately understand your question. Could you please clarify?
Actually, when I'm trying to attach my canvas design or poster or cover page, which I have already chosen or already created, that is not, that format isn't suitable for the video, which I'm doing, merging the video. So,
How exactly are you trying to merge this with the video? Are you setting it as a thumbnail image?
yeah, exactly.
So one of the, I don't know much more in detail unless I see the thing, but it could, did you actually choose the thumbnail template and then you went onto YouTube and then set it as a thumbnail?
Not exactly the YouTube thing,
Huh.
but I went to the animation, social media tab, and then I selected that.
Right. So you went to social media and then
Yeah.
what did you choose?
I chose your Instagram post.
Right. So see, that's the thing. If you, as you can see on screen right now, for Instagram post, it says it is 2160 into 2160, right? So these posts are specifically designed, as in terms of dimensions, for the particular purpose that's there, right? So if you are choosing to create a YouTube thumbnail cover, what you definitely want to do is go ahead and make sure that you do choose the YouTube thumbnail. The reason for it is YouTube requires you to upload an image at 1280 to 720 pixels dimension so that it can sit very properly as a YouTube thumbnail cover. Otherwise, like you're saying, if you made an Instagram post which is square, whereas YouTube thumbnail is a little bit more of a horizontal rectangle, yours will probably get like a little bit squished vertically. And that's probably not going to happen, or it might get cropped, which is not going to be the ideal option for you. So if you're going to be creating something, I recommend that one, you just use the default, what do I call, the dimensions that they have set up on Canva itself. Or if you're feeling a little bit geeky and you're willing to do a little bit more research, you could find out the exact dimensions. Go over here on the top right, just below the search bar, and you can create something of a specific dimension. So you could still do 1280 into 720, and then you can click on create a new design, and that's going to give you a brand new design for you to go ahead and use as well. And as Navya says, the preview image, you do need to upload it. So on YouTube, you would go and say set custom thumbnail, and then you can upload that. That would help as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
See, for example, if I'm say just informally recording a video on my mobile, and then I'm choosing to edit it using, say, a mobile app like InShot. Okay, and there I want to terminate the video with, say, a poster which I've created using this Canva. So that means I need to export it as a .png, and there I need to insert the .png into that, correct?
Absolutely.
That's the only way.
That's the only way.
Okay, that way, even if I have to embed that as a slide in a PPT that I'm making, so it has to be just inserted as a picture.
That's right.
So I don't have access to individual components.
No, you do not have. However, this might work as a workaround for you. What you could do, let's say that you have a particular component that you really do like. Okay, so let's say that, okay, I've just randomly clicked on this, right? You could just put this as the only thing. This is again a workaround, it's a very clumsy thing. But let's say that this is the component that you want. You can go ahead and click on download, and you could export this. Now, when you export this, right? So as a PNG, you can download it, and it's going to come out as this black and white thing. However, at a premium version, right, you could actually export it with a transparent background. So that means everything that you see on screen that is white as a part of the canvas will be transparent, and only this black, right, love and joy from the Millers, right? only that would be exported. Unfortunately, that's a premium thing that you have to do.
So whatever be the background, it will come correctly this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And the size of that picture will be the dimension of the thing that you have chosen. So that is.
So I have to live with all the loss of clarity which comes with resizing and all that, right?
Well, usually it shouldn't affect you too much, right? But because if you're shooting something on the phone, it's highly likely that you are shooting at 1280 into 720 pixels. So if you have something which is going to be looking like this, then, you know, when you zoom out, it's going to be pretty much the same size. I think, yeah, should work. Okay. But yes, that is a function of the thing.
Yeah.
There is a reason for this. The type of images that come over here, it's slightly technical, is that they are defined by, they're essentially something called raster images, right? And what happens is they're all like different, like each pixel, right? Think of it as like when you stretch it, right? It's like stretching a piece of polythene paper, right? You don't want to do that. Other kinds of images include vectors. This is not a vector program, but with vectors, what happens is each of these things are very easily scalable and printable, but I haven't found a tool like Canva for vectors just yet.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right then. If there are no more questions, I'm going to stop the sharing. Of course, Vikram, would you like to say a few words before we wrap up for the day?
Nothing in particular. I think it's been very enlightening to have this session. A lot of people, including myself, have had humongous, challenges to actually create posters like this. So this is something that Arvind hatched upon at the beginning of this week, and I wasn't too convinced that we should do this as a session. I sort of told him about my apprehension also, but I do get the value, about why we need to be able to design stuff like this on our own, and Canva is a pretty brilliant tool to be able to use for that purpose. So yeah, I think you will start seeing a lot more sessions that aim at practical experiences like this. But in addition to that, we are also going to be doing a lot more Gigsy related, live your passion, make money out of it kind of thing going forward as well. So you will see a lot of mix and match about all of this. And at some point, I think we'll even do Q&As, right?
Yes.
Arvind? Yeah. We'll
I've also got plans of bringing in specialists from outside and interviewing them. For example, one of my friends is a marketing expert, right? He does a lot of marketing work. So I'm going to ask him like, hey, let's just talk about, marketing for independent creators. How would you go about doing that? So
cool.
Again, everybody who's here and whoever's watching this video in the future, if you have questions, please go ahead and send that to us. And we're always looking for inspiration, right? Stuff that we can answer your questions with. And please do send that across.
See, I have a point, Vikram and Arvind. I think the way Gigsy can be different from similar platforms is when you provide what I choose to call as satellite support, right? Like you just said, one satellite support, which is marketing, for example. Now, the kind of skill sets that people need in this digital era is going to be completely different. For example, this is one poster making skill set is one awesome, important skill set. Or how do I create a 3-minute video and quickly edit it using an app in the mobile phone and I get it out, publish it out in no time. So these kind of skills also, if you can parallelly teach, I think it will be a great value add in addition to the Gigsy stuff. Right, and all satellite support. For example, you even can bring somebody and talk about how do you manage your finances. For a guy who's, there are lots of things that people need. For example, the legal side. Let me take a simple example. Today's children need to understand what is copyright violation, which I think you and I, when we studied in school, we just didn't have to learn at all. Because a child may just click on something and just add something and just publish something, and then without realizing that it has landed itself in a mess, and which apparently has landed the parent in a mess. Right? So I think a lot of things like legal, what is copyright, what is finance, what is accounting, what is sales, what is marketing, then what are these tool supports? I think everything, if you can bring in one session, I think that would be the greatest differentiator for Gigsy as compared to the rest of the guys.
That sounds interesting. It could be a very good way for us to reach to that school of entrepreneurship sort of a thing, maybe sometime in the future. Thank you for your
point taken, Ranga. I think this is a small step in that direction. So like I said, even, when I was closing the conversation with Arvind, that we are going to look at doing a lot more tactical sessions like this, where you learn a skill or you learn how to make certain things, right? In addition to whatever we do with respect to Gigsy's Creator Bootcamp as well. So we'll do a mix of both, and I think it'll be great. Ranga, I know for a fact that you come with a lot of coaching related skills as well, right? So if even you during one of the sessions, if you could pick up a topic around that, I think it'll be brilliant for us to have. I think it'll impact everybody.
There's so much I could learn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you honestly, sorry, I'm extending this conversation. Frankly, I've just made a huge list of skills that people in digital era need to have. Okay. And when I assess myself on these skills, I was hardly 20% ready. So I'm only 20% relevant today. Right now, the reason for example, I just saw a grade card of a child in US who just passed that UKG or whatever, first grade. In the grade card, what it was mentioned? The child can independently press the mute button and switch it on. A grade.
Interesting.
Something that we don't even consider as an important skill, but today has become such an important skill, right?
Yep.
So I think if we can sit together, I'm willing to definitely share with you. If we can make a list of these skills, and at least once in a month, one session like this which focuses on skill on a tool, it will be a great value add.
All right, let's look at that.
Okay, we can do that. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right then.
Thanks a ton.
Thank you very much. I am now officially going to stop the recording.